Hello and welcome to Valuechain News. I am Naomi Oleribe. First, the headlines. African Energy Chamber calls for Glencore's termination over bribery. Nigeria settles $3.7 billion debt of 5 oil firms. NSCDC uncovers another illegal oil bunkering camp in Rivers. And now, the news in detail. The African Energy Chamber has called for the termination of Glencore's membership in the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (EITI). Glencore's 2 subsidiaries had in May pleaded guilty to multiple charges of market manipulation and bribery, including corruption related to the company's oil operations in Africa and South America. The Anglo-Swiss multinational company is expected to pay up to $1.5 billion after other subsidiaries pleaded guilty to bribery in Brazil and the US. The company was also named in a massive bribery scandal in exchange for favorable contracts from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited. The chamber, in a letter dated June 10, 2022 and addressed to EITI's chairperson of directors, Right Honorable Helen Elizabeth Clark, noted that Glencore's guilty plea confirms that its actions were not in compliance with EITI's mission, values and principles, adding that Glencore's violation calls for their termination from the prestigious organization. Valuechain reports that Glencore admitted in the U.S. court to paying more than $100 million in bribes to officials in Brazil, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Equatorial Guinea, Nigeria, South Sudan, and Venezuela between 2007 and 2018. The Anglo-Swiss multinational commodity trading and mining company penalties to the U.S. alone for violating the U.S. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act (FCPA) and manipulating commodity prices will total at least $1.5 billion. Glencore Energy UK Limited recently also indicated that it will plead guilty to charges brought by the UK Serious Fraud Office (SFO) in respect to its bribery investigation. Latest updates on Nigeria's cash call arrears repayment showed that the country had so far repaid a total of $3.72 billion to 5 international oil companies, leaving an outstanding balance of $971.8 million. Data obtained from the country's oil firm, Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPC) in Abuja on Friday, indicated that the 5 IOCs include Shell Petroleum Development Company, Mobil Producing Nigeria, Chevron Nigeria Limited, Total Exploration and Production Nigeria, and Nigeria Ajib Oil Company. It was also learned that Nigeria's total cash call arrears to the firms were initially $4.689 billion before it was cut down to the current amount of $971.8 million after various repayments by the federal government through its oil firm, Nigeria National Petroleum Company (NNPC). Cash calls are sent by joint venture operators to non-operating partners for payments in the light of anticipated future capital, operating expenditures, or the need for additional capital contributions. The federal government through NNPC had over the years piled up unpaid bills referred to as cash calls, which it was obliged to pay the IOCs with which it had joint ventures for oil exploration and production. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps said it has uncovered a residential building used by illegal oil bunkerers as a dump site for the storage of illegally refined automotive gasoline oil near Ignatius Ajuru University of Education in Rumolumeni, Obiakpo, Rivers State. Commandant of the NSCDC in Rivers State, Abu Tambuwal, said the feat was achieved due to sustained intelligence, which led to an ambush for over 3 days when the said building was being used as a loading point for illegally refined automotive gasoline oil. Speaking through the command's head of anti-vandalism anti-vandal squad, Joaquin Okafor Tambuwal, said the surveillance team of the anti-vandal squad swung into action to effect the arrest of those carrying out the acts, which amounts to economic sabotage. The NSCDC boss in Rivers State reiterated the corps will not relent in the fight against oil thefts, illegal oil bunkering, and all acts of economic sabotage in the state, while assuring of detailed investigation into the matter and possible prosecution. Algeria will honor all its gas commitments with Spain, a Foreign Affairs Ministry statement said on Friday, days after Algiers blocked trade over a diplomatic dispute about the status of Western Sahara. Algeria has already let it be known by the most authoritative voice, that of the President of the Republic, that it will continue to honor all its commitments, the statement said. Algeria announced last week the suspension of a 20-year-old friendship treaty with Spain, and its banking association ordered payments to and from Spain to be stopped, which, according to Algerian sources, affects all trade except for gas supplies. Algeria was angered when Spain said in March it supported a Moroccan plan to offer autonomy to Western Sahara. Algeria backs the Polisario Front movement seeking full independence for the territory, which Morocco regards as its own and mostly controls. The price of U.S. gasoline averaged more than $5 a gallon for the first time on Saturday, data from the AAA showed, extending a surge in fuel costs that is driving rising inflation. The national average price for regular unleaded gas rose to $5.4 a gallon on June 11th from $4.9 a day earlier. AAA data showed high gasoline prices are a headache for President Joe Biden and congressional Democrats as they struggle to maintain their slim control of Congress with midterm elections coming up in November. Biden has pulled on numerous levers to try to lower prices, including a record release of barrels from U.S. strategic reserves, waivers on rules for producing summer gasoline, and leaning on major OPEC countries to boost output. Yet, fuel prices has been surging around the world due to a combination of rebounding demand, sanctions on oil producer Russia after its invasion of Ukraine, and a squeeze on refining capacity. World Bank has warned that the rising prices of food items will reverse the progress of poverty alleviation in Nigeria. It gave this warning in a report titled Global Economic Prospects released over the weekend. In Nigeria, food inflation rates rose month on month to 2.0% in April from 1.62% in January, while noting that the rising price of goods and services, partly induced by the supply disruptions owing to the war in Ukraine, has weakened economic growth in Nigeria and other countries in sub-Saharan African region. The World Bank stressed that the slowdown in growth pandemic induced losses in per capita income across the region. It further projected that this could reverse recent progress in poverty alleviation in countries where vulnerable populations are sizable, like Nigeria and Democratic Republic of Congo. Before we end the news, here's a recap of our headlines. African Energy Chamber calls for Glencore's termination over bribery. Nigeria settles $3.7 billion debt of 5 oil firms. NSCDC uncovers another illegal oil bunkering camp in Rivers. And that's the news. I am Naomi Oleribe. Good evening.